Check, check. All right, everybody, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask that all our panelists please come to the stage. Can you hear me? I'm going to ask that all our panelists please come to the stage. One representative of each organization. Sit where y'all feel. We don't have to go and found an order tonight. Get in where you fit in. What are we missing? I think we have everybody. All right. All right, so we'd like to welcome you all to Greek 101, also our anti-hazing intake certification. My name is Mr. Steve Stevens II. I serve as the coordinator for fraternity and sorority life here on campus and community service. Thank you all for coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all don't love yourself. Give yourself a round of applause. Man. Appreciate it. So this will not be long. Anybody that knows me, I don't believe in long meetings. I don't believe in stretching things out. We're going to go through a brief Q&A period, and then we will have our anti-hazing presentation, and then hopefully we should be out of here no later than 9 p.m. Is that fair? Is that fair? There we go. I need that energy. I appreciate you in the back. All right. So we will start with introductions, and we will start. Now, just so you all know, for those who are taking notes, this is not founding order. We decided to mix it up tonight, but we're going to start with the gentleman here closest to me, and we'll work our way down. So for introductions, your name, organization, chapter, colors, call.
Hello? Okay. Well, greetings. How's everybody doing?
Not so close.
Okay, my bad. Greetings, how's everybody doing? My name is Kevin Kennedy from the Epsilon Sigma chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. We are, our colors are crimson and cream, and you said our call, right? And our call is, yo baby, yo baby, yo! Yo baby, yo baby, yo! Yeah, that's it.
Hold on. When was your chapter founded?
Oh, and our chapter was founded on May 9th, 1969, and the fraternity was founded on January 5th, 1911, on the campus of Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kennedy. I'm currently the president of the Exquisite Ada chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Our colors are salmon pink and apple green. Our call. What else I'm supposed to say? Oh, we was founded on January 15th, 1908, on the campus of Howard University. I said it. Yeah.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Chris. I'm Vice President for Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated via Eta Zeta Funk Chapter. Our colors is black and gold. Our call is A506. We was founded on December 4th, 1906. We was chartered on May 13, 1970 at Bowie State University. What else? Yeah, I did that. All right, cool.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Michael Ogunsalu, a Fall 21 initiative of the Epsilon Sigma chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Our call is and our chapter was founded on March 1st, 1968. My organization was founded on November 17th, 1911.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jasmine Newton. I'm a member of Swing by Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated. We were founded in Winston-Salem State University on April 4th, 1969. And I went over at the Taboo chapter at Lincoln University. Our call is,
What's happening, y'all? My name is Kendall. I'm a Fall 19 initiate of the Pi Zeta chapter at UNLV, but now I'm affiliated with the Delta Mu chapter, which was chartered here at Bowie State on June 28, 1969. The Phi Beta Sigma organization overall was founded at Howard on January 9, 1914. Our call is blue, fight, you know, blue, fight, you know, blue, fight, you know. Got some reinforcements in the back, you know. I think that's it.
Hi, my name is Alex Sullivan. I am a part of the Zeta Delta chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our chapter was founded April 16th, 1968, and we were the first black sorority founded on this campus. And our call is, and I think that's everything, right?
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Tariq Abdullah. I'm a Spring 19 initiate of the Better Business Bulldog 1 chapter here at Bowie State University. We are the first fraternal organization charter on this campus on November 30th, 1967. We were founded on October 12th, 1962 on the campus of Morgan State College, now Morgan State University. Our call is
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing today? My name is Abu Salah. I'm a Fall 17 initiate of the Zeta Nu chapter at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. I'm serving as the president of Mu chapter. Iota Phi Theta was founded Thursday, September 19th, 1963, and this is our call.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Messiah Mako. I am a Fall 21 inductee of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Sigma Gamma Rho was founded November 12, 1922. We are the elite Epsilon Lambda chapter, and we were founded at Bowie State College on March 31st, 1973.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Markel Smith. I am here representing Sigma Lambda Gamma sorority. I crossed at Towson University, Sigma Gamma chapter, spring 13. I'm here sitting in on behalf of our associate chapter here at Bowie State University. Sigma Lambda Gamma was founded at the University of Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa, on April 9th, 1990. Our colors are shocking pink and majestic purple, and our call is
Thank you. All right. So we've gone through the introductions. We will go into Q&A, just so you all know a bit of housekeeping. For those who want to submit questions, if you go to the Bowie State _NPHC Instagram page, there's a question in the, what is this? In the stories, thank you. In the stories, you can ask your question in the stories and I'll be sure to get it, okay? Also, housekeeping. In the process, we have 3 current organizations that are going through the recharter process at Bowie State, and 2 of them have tables out front. So for those of you all who are still making your mind up, Swing Phi Swing has a table out front, who are the sisters to Groove Phi Groove, and also Iota Phi Theta has a table out front. So make sure, if you want some information and kind of learn more about those organizations, please make sure you check those tables out. Another organization that's in the process of recharting is Alpha Nu Omega Christian Sorority. And we have a representative. You want to come on stage? All right. Give her a round of applause, please. And when you have a seat, please give us your name and information about your organization.
Hear me now? Oh, I can hear me now. All right, well, my name is Angela Thorpe Johnson. I'm a representative of Alpha Nu Omega Sorority Incorporated, and we were founded November 3rd, 1988 on the wonderful campus of Morgan State University. I heard calls going on. So our call is New A. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you joining us. Check, check. Hello. Check, check. Check, check. Hello, hello. I think I'm back now. All right. So this is the Q&A portion. This is pretty much where we'll ask some general questions to the panel. If you think you want to ask your question in person, please feel free to walk up. I will hand you the microphone and you can ask your question. If you want to be a little bit more discreet, like I said, make sure you go to Bowie State _NPHC at Instagram and enter the question section in the stories and ask your question. All right. So just a couple of basic questions here. I'm going to go with some of the more general questions first. We have one question that says, how difficult is it for you to multitask being a full-time student, active in other organizations, and a part of your fraternity or sorority? And we'll let the first 4 to 5 people take a response to this question. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pass the microphones around. Just pass. There you go. Appreciate it. Give it some time. There it is.
I think you guys can hear me now. Okay. Like I stated earlier, I am Alex Sullivan, but what I didn't say is that I am the chapter president of my chapter. So I would say organization and time management is probably one of the hardest things I struggle with, considering I'm not just working with the school and my chapter, I'm also working with our regional team and our national team on a much broader scale. And so I think some of the things that help me out is delegating, like delegating tasks to certain people or also setting up a set schedule. And also, not only am I a full-time student, but I also work 2 to 3 times a week. So I just really have to whatever the word is, just really bunker down, I guess that's the word, to really see what I want to do. So sometimes I don't always go out and have a social life because at the end of the day, you know, we pride ourselves on scholarship, and I'm going to get a 3.0 every semester. So.
I'm sorry, say the question once again.
All right. So how hard is it to balance school, any extracurricular activities, and sorority life?
Okay, so as you can probably see, I'm very seasoned. So I have graduated already. However, when I was on campus and I was a part of the pledging process for my sorority, the way that I did it was I also worked. I also carried a full line of classes, and organization is the key. And knowing what you want to do. If this is really what you want to do, if pledging for a sorority or fraternity is something that you really, really want to do, then there are some things that you know you have to cut out. So there are some things that I couldn't do at that season in my life. I had to cut those things out, and I had to make a priority with the things that I really wanted to accomplish at that set time.
Who else has any? It's your song.
To answer your question, it's all about prioritizing and characterizing. It's all about time management and productivity. Just separate your majors from minors and focus on what's more important of whatever you prioritize.
Someone else wanted to answer the question? Go right ahead.
Okay. So I would agree. I crossed at Towson University. That same semester, I was a student athlete, as well as the chapter president and marketing chair. So I would say anywhere between prioritizing and communication. Like, I think someone said earlier, delegating tasks, that was a big thing for me, because I felt like I had to be at everywhere at once. So definitely, I would say prioritization and communication.
Last person, anybody else want to take this question? All right. Next question, submitting community service hours. From what I can see, each organization is different in this. Can you all share the ways that you all calculate and receive community service hours for intake? Does anybody want to tackle that one? One, two, all right.
Okay, so Bowie State does offer a lot of different community service events around the time intake is going on. But also, like, there's a lot of local churches, gyms. You can even go to different elementary schools, middle schools, and just ask them if they have any, like, open community service. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really think about community service until it's around the time to try to join a specific organization. So if you're trying to get a bunch of community service hours in a short amount of time, that's your best option, in my opinion.
Yep, so community service actually falls under my office. The university or my office offers at least 2 community service events per month. If you are not in the chat that we have, please come see me after this event and we'll add you to the chat. Members post community service events that they are wanting to do, and we also add events as we get them, all right? Do you want to speak some? You gotta give some time. Let it warm up. You got it. There it is.
All right, can you guys hear me? Are we good? For Groove 5 Groove, we have at least 3 to 4 community service projects every month. We typically have hours every other Thursday, and also we have one at the end of the month where we give 300 to 400 sandwiches away in Baltimore. For us, we just want to see that you guys are involved in community service, but whether you're interested or not, where anybody's invited to our community services.
Also, for submitting community service hours, there is a community service form that is on the university website. If you go under the clubs and org section, you can use that form for on-campus events. You can also use it for off-campus, but it's a little bit harder. The easiest thing for off-campus is to simply have the people that you were doing the service for to send you a confirmation email of the hours and the service that you did from their professional email. You can send that to the studentlife@bowiestate.edu email, and we'll process it from there. All right? All right, so here's a hot question I'm sure everybody wants to jump in on. What is the best way to show interest in a particular organization? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna stop there. 8. All right. Y'all just have at it. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I'll go start. You got a mic. For us, we've actually put a lot of events on our page. We also do have an interest, like Google Doc on our page as well, for us to send people information if they just want to attend events. Really, if you're interested in the group, just attend events, talk to us, have good grades. That's really the main thing we're looking for.
How you doing? One thing I'll also suggest for anyone interested in any organization, if that event is having any event, if that organization is having any events, whether it's a party event or even just a knowledgeable event or a study session, show interest by attending those events. You don't have to attend every single one, but showing face, just getting to know the people on campus for who they are, that's a great start.
Yeah, just to expand on what he said, just showing up to events, showing up on time, being at these events and being involved, like participating in events and just kind of like talking to everyone and getting to know who exactly those people in those organizations are.
Okay, so as far as, my bad, bro.
No, you got it.
Already. As far as expressing interest, like everybody else said, attending events, you know what I'm saying, making sure your face is shown. There are other ways you can do it, but I won't say like try to DM anybody because that's not really discretion, for real, in my opinion.
Can you explain discretion?
Ooh, okay. So discretion is basically not being, how do I put this into terms, hot about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If someone wants to come join my fraternity and I'm in the pub, don't come up to me and try to be like, hey, I want to join Kappa. I'm going to be like, bro, like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's in a public area, you know what I'm saying? But if you, like, see me, like, alone, you know what I'm saying? This is how I did it. I saw a brother alone, and I came up to him. I was like, hey, whenever you get a chance, can I speak to you, But it's a combination of multiple things, you feel me? The more and more that your face is shown, like, we see that you want to do it. So it's like, keep showing up to events, keep coming around, be polite, speak, don't be hot about it. And, hopefully that should get you where you need to be.
I would say go learn something about the organization. Because if you come up to me in a discreet fashion and you say, or you express an interest, I'm gonna ask you what do you know about the organization? Because like we all research, or at least I did. I researched Bowie before I applied for it. I ain't just show up to Bowie trying to get in. Like I looked up where it was at because I transferred from the West Coast. So taking the time to do some background learning is something that I think you should do, because when you show your interest, not everybody, but like a lot of people are interested. So one of those discerning factors that can help you is that if you know a little bit more than the average Joe, because a lot of people are seeking interest, but that's kind of it. They don't have no preliminary activity going on. They just show up, hey, when are y'all having this? When are y'all having that? It's like, okay, like, do you even know what you're getting into for real? Like, when were we founded? Like, a lot of us said our founders date. Some of y'all should take that down from memory so that, knowledge-wise, y'all can have that when y'all go to show y'all interest.
Just like everybody said, piggyback, show face to events, get to know the people in the yard, be more discreet. You could do like set appointments. Hey, I want to do a study session with you. You can hit our email chapter page, send like an email. Just try to do it ways to where it's not really publicly seen.
Just to piggyback off what my friend here said, pretty much being prepared for the moment that you do express interest. Make sure you're discreet. Make sure that you're not putting yourself in a compromising situation by being too public with what you're trying to do, and also to just make sure that you're seeking a genuine friendship with whoever it is you're talking to, and not like just trying to like get to know somebody for your own personal endeavors for real. Like make sure that, because people could really see that, and that's something that's kind of a turn off. So make sure like you're being real, you're being yourself, and if you just come around and show face enough, they'll see you and they'll understand what it is that you're trying to do and what type of person you are. And that's what you're really trying to show them.
Thank you. Great answers. Next question. How did you know the fraternity or sorority that you're in was the one? Everybody can just have at it. Go ahead. Don't all speak at once.
Relating to people, like who's relatable, somebody who's like-minded, who has the same goals and intentions as I did. That's what made me draw to the fraternity that I'm in today.
I would say pretty much just my friends and like who I grew up with, like growing up. They all Sec Omega and were ended up being men of Omega. So it just kind of naturally was drawn to me, and I never really knew it about anything else. And also, like growing up, I didn't realize it until I got to college, but like all my favorite movies growing up, they were like about men of Omega, like Remembering the Titans, The Great Debater, just like people that I saw and looked up to as role models, just like regular black BT movies, like just regular things, like they were all men of Omega, and that really stuck with me.
So as I stated before, I went over at Lincoln University, the Gindaga Bimbisha Taboo chapter, and what attracted me to the sisters and made me want to join the organization was the event and the fact that it wasn't superficial. It was a deeper level of thinking that I wanted to engage with further.
For me, the school that I was at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So it was a lot more fraternal and sorority organizations. Yeah, it was probably about almost 40. So the Sigmas were just covering all the bases. Like they would have community service at 10 o'clock, and then they would have a party at 10 p.m. So I really liked that they was covering both of the bases. They had the highest GPA, and amongst the campus, like they were just being themselves, and I was never really a fan of pretending to fit in. So they had that vibe about them, and then once I started to get to know the members and the information and such, I just personally identified with some of the members and some of the things they had done historically, and I was just trying to follow their example. So.
Growing up, most of my aunts and my cousins were a part of my sorority, and that's just what I wanted to surround myself with. And also when I came to Bowie, I seen it and I was like, that's the first sorority, so I want to be a part of that.
For me, I'm kind of the same background. My mom and my aunts were all Deltas, and I think I just love the sisterhood that they had. And I also remember when I was younger, when my mom took me to one of her homecomings, and like I just remember seeing how much they just loved each other and how much they cared for each other. And just like recently, some of my aunts like have gone through breast cancer, and so was my mom. And to see the sisterhood with each other and seeing how much they care for each other is something that I take pride on, because like I just want to feel that same love. And also, I love community service, and being a part of an organization that does so much service is just like a plus as well.
So me personally, my fraternity stands for, our whole motto is achievement. And throughout life, I feel like that's all I've tried to do is one-up myself, keep elevating, keep striving for goals. And that's what I saw men on campus doing. Me personally, my mentor was Mr. Sophomore at the time, and that's one of the things I wanted to do. And when he pledged Kappa, I was like, this is definitely kind of gateway I want to go. I appreciated how they carry themselves, how they dress nicely. You know, they were always in some type of nice threads or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? They always look good. So I was like, this is what fits my personality. This is kind of how I want to move. This is the next level that I want to achieve. This is how I want to elevate.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar story as well. For me, it was really the culture of my organization. So I could literally see the guys on my campus, and honestly, you know, they were doing a lot of community service. We had events like a jollof off, and they treated me like family before I even got there. I really didn't have to be a part of the organization. They treated me the same way before and after I actually went over. And that's really the reason why I still love my organization, to be honest, and I want to carry the torch that way.
So for me, what attracted me to IOTA was the brotherhood and the motto, building a tradition not resting upon one. The brotherhood aspect, so I crossed over down at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and during my sophomore year, both my roommate and I, we both were interested. I really noticed how all the brothers, their authentic relationship, it was just very authentic, just not only within the chapter at UMES, but even when they go meet other brothers from Morgan, even from Bowie, or even from Delaware State, it was just really authentic. And like, there was really some real ride or dies from each other, and everybody had a similar background. So that's what attracted me. And the motto, building a tradition not resting upon one, it's just daring to be different. Just daring to be different, setting new standards.
I'll say for me, what attracted me to Sigma Gamma Rho was the standards that was set for me as an interest. The girls on Yard, when I started showing on interest, were sorority of the year. They had the highest GPA, the most community service hours, and it was only 3 of them. So, you know, that was just kind of something that enlightened me to just kind of setting higher expectations for myself. Also, as an organization as a whole, them being founded by all educators, and that's a future career I see for myself. So I'll say the last thing that kind of made me a bigger interest was just kind of like the authentic, like how authentic they were. I felt like I knew some before and after they were the same person. I felt like they were personable. I felt like I can come up to them and talk to them about anything and everything, and it didn't feel weird. I didn't have to, you know, put on a face. So, yeah.
So the reason I joined Sigma Lambda Gamma, I just wanted to do something different. What really drew me to them was, one, cultural awareness and women empowerment. There was so much that they were doing on campus. Again, I crossed at Towson University, where they were just showing women from different backgrounds and just how, I guess, they go about living their day-to-day lives. We had workshops, community service events, all these things. They were very authentic, and I just got along with them really well. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
What interested me about Alpha and Omega was the fact that they were so brave. When I came to campus, I wanted to make sure that my values were not compromised. And when I met the sisters on Morgan State University's campus, they were like me. And not only that, they challenged me to be a better woman as a Christian as well. They prayed every Wednesday in the midst of the heaviest trafficking time during campus, and they were not afraid. They were not intimidated. They stood strong in what they believed in, and that was something that definitely attracted me to them. Not only that, the RA that I had, I didn't even know she was a part of Alpha Nu Omega, but I was having a not difficult time, but it was kind of a little bit of a challenge when I first got to campus. I didn't know anybody. I was new to Maryland. I came from New York. So all of this was pretty much new to me. And she was absolutely the nicest person. We would talk. I would come down from my room, just sit there and talk with her during her duty. And then she finally told me, like months and months after, that she was a part of this same group of young women that I saw. And I was like, wow, that is what attracted me. She was exactly who she was, regardless. And I love that.
All right, thank you for those answers. So to sum that up, I look at fraternity and sorority life as like car shopping. Everybody has their own preference or the one thing that they look for. Some people like Mercedes-Benz, some people like BMW, people like Audi, people like Toyota. Whatever your preference is, there's something that speaks to your individual preferences up here. So whether you are Afrocentric and are based in comedic principles, that could be Groove Fi Groove and Swing Fi Swing. If you are traditional, then that'll be our D9 organizations. On campus, we have Chi Eta Phi for nursing majors. We did have Kappa Kappa Psi and TBS for marching band and music-oriented students. So there's something that speaks to everybody. You just have to figure out what it is and then align yourself with said organization. All right? What are the intake requirements? So for the university, the intake requirements are 2.7 grade point average, along with 24 hours for a traditional enrollee. That means you came in as a freshman. If you're a transfer, then it is 30 hours, okay? And 2.7 grade point average, and each individual organization has their own community service requirements, okay? So some may require 30 hours, some may require 50, some may require 100. But the more hours you do, the more of a cushion you give yourself to prepare, all right? Also, the university requires a 2.7, but most of these organizations, their CUME GPA averages are about over a 3.0, especially the sororities. So you have to make sure that if you come in with the minimum requirement, that does not guarantee membership, all right? Does anybody want to speak to intake requirements? All right. What'd you say? What are the financial obligations for your organizations? Somebody pass them the mic.
Yeah, I just paid dues, so this is a great question. I just paid dues. So the financial obligations, so the thing you gotta remember about these fraternities and sororities is that they're incorporated. So that actually adds the official kind of business aspect to the organizations. So that's one reason why you gotta pay. But not even just for your membership. With Sigma, actually, when you join, you're paid for the first 2 years. So I just had to pay mine for the first time. But the buying the suits, the buying the plane ticket, because you got to travel to this state for this conference, there's a lot of things that you may not think about when you first coming in that are going to come up. And as a member, you kind of have a duty to fulfill. And so part of your duty is a financial duty. So we all have a term, it's probably slightly different amongst all of us, but it's called being financial, which means basically when you get looked up on the fraternity or sororities rolls, it says that you're paid in full to the organization. So when you join the organization, you should take pride in the fact that you should try to always be financial. Now, obviously, life will happen. Sometimes you can't pay for stuff. We all young and not as rich as we would like to be college students, right? So, you know, there's times where you may falter a little bit, but financial duty is important. It's probably just as important, or if not as more important, than some of the other responsibilities that you'll have. So if you guys get to that point, take pride in always being financial because it shows your commitment to your organization.
Also, just like my brother was saying, every organization has financial obligations, but understand that all of them also go towards fees as well, because like he said, everything is incorporated. So there's also fees for certain things on a local, on a state level, and on a national level. So just be mindful that when you're paying this money, it's just not going to the chapter or straight to the organization. There's actual fees to take care of as well, too.
Anybody else? So one thing that I can say that separates our organizations from our counterparts is that we believe that when you leave here, that the organization stays with you. That's why we have graduate chapters, and that's why we do things as alumni. And so just because you had a financial requirement in undergrad, that does not stop when you graduate. As they said, we are all incorporated. Incorporated means that we are businesses, fully functioning businesses. And the lifeblood of what these businesses run on are your dues. And so you have to make sure that you are financial and that you are active in giving of your time and your talents to these organizations once you leave here. So just remember that. It's not just a college thing so that you can attend parties or do service or have fun or be on IG. It is a lifetime commitment, all right? Let's see here. What was the most difficult thing that you faced going through your intake process? All right now.
Yeah, you already know. So I don't got no line brothers. So I'm a solo deuce. So I began with some people that didn't finish with me. So my hardest part about it was just kind of having to refine the drive, because after they dropped and the things that happened, for me it was difficult to find the motivation and the discipline to keep going, because the people that was with me quit on me. And so when you start your process, the brothers and the sisters that are with you are supposed to be with you for life. Y'all supposed to be like this forever, or at least that's the point. So once I was alone, I was like, well, we came this far, may as well go ahead and get these letters. So just trying to find the drive and trying to find the motivation when facing a very, very, very difficult point in my process for me personally.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I was a solo as well. Started out with 5. But my issue was asking for help. I hate asking for help. I feel like everything I do, it has to be perfect, and I feel like I'm the only one who can get it done, because when I get it done, that's when it gets done right. So being able to rely on sisters who essentially were strangers at the beginning and relying on them for help, and yeah, that was really hard for me.
Cool. So I'm not a solo, but I'm a deuce. But yeah, let me see. For me personally, I would say the hardest part of my intake process, I had 2 line brothers. We were all very independent. We all before we became members, we all ran our own organization and everything. So for us to come together and take turns leading, I would say that was probably the hardest part. And we all were kind of, we all were kind of stubborn for a sense, to an extent. So we had to learn how to, work together over time. But in the end, we love each other because of, the challenges that we overcame together.
Okay, so for me, it was 2 things. Number one, it was finding my balance, because when I was going through my process, I was doing a lot of things. I was part of SGA, I was Mr. Senior, I was operating my business now. I was operating 2 businesses at that time, actually. I was a part of a different organization, and I had a job, and I also served on e-board for another organization as well. So I had a lot on my plate, and at that time, I made everything look easy. I don't know how I did it, but I promise you, I made every single thing look easy, and still had I had a 2.8 that semester, but look, I still passed, okay? But it was just basically finding my balance, because I had to make time for myself. That's when I actually noticed how important your mental health is. And that leads into my second part, actually leaning on my brothers. Because I'm going to be honest, as black men, we don't like to get emotional or shed no type of emotion. But when I met my line brothers, I started had my little moments and my breaking points. I found myself vented to them and just finding myself, just expressing myself some more to make myself feel better. And it helped.
Yeah, I would have to agree with everyone. I would say my biggest thing was during intake is you have a readjustment period where you may be used to always going out with your friends or, just having a general social life. So during intake, you kind of are with others, and you may not necessarily be comfortable at first. You may not have known these people before that. So just kind of getting to know new people and being surrounded by other women and men for the first time that you don't know, it's a struggle. So just kind of like that readjustment period was hard for me, just kind of being around new people. But honestly, it's a really healthy experience to know others and just learning how to ask for help, learning how to lean on other people and for the greater good of your community. So, yeah.
I would agree with everyone. I would say my biggest issue was trust. I had some serious trust issues back then. Like, I wanted things done the way that I wanted them to be done. I was the kind of person that, working in a group was hard for me because I would like have to go back and check over to make sure everyone did it, whatever they needed to do the way that maybe I thought was acceptable. So just kind of letting go of that control and learning to work together with my line sisters, that was probably the biggest thing for me.
I think the biggest part that, or one of the things that was challenging for me was being humble. You have to answer to people, and you don't necessarily want to sometimes. You're used to doing what you want to do when you want to do it. And when it's that season of intake, you have to be on the humble. And that was definitely a challenge for me. But like this sister said here, it was growth in to being a woman, because not only during intake are you having to be humble, but on jobs you have to be humble. In your classes, you have to be humble to professors. You have to be humble to get along sometimes. So that was a great lesson for me during that intake process.
Anybody else? All right, so essentially, I want to lead with this. I know that somebody used the word pledge. We don't use that word anymore. It is now intake. And also, we don't have lines, we have intake classes. All these organizations up here are non-pledging and non-hazing organizations. As those, and thank you, please clap. As hazing incurs fines, suspensions, and removal of charters. So we don't need any of that, right? All right. So that kind of leads into this next question. Does each chapter hold their own informational? I'll start to answer this question. If anybody wants to jump in, that is fine. So Greek 101 at Bowie State University starts the intake season. After today, you will start to see flyers from organizations up here who are currently in the process of having intake. Every organization up here will not have intake this semester. Many will. I think about 7 of them plan on having intake this semester, okay? So you will start to see the flyers. If you're ever on campus and you do not see a flyer, you can always come by my office on the 3rd floor of the Student Center to see if that flyer is posted. If you want to email me, you can email me and say, hey, Mr. Stevens, is such and such organization having intake? I will confirm that for you, all right? Outside of that, once you get into the process, and if you are selected, then you will take the next steps from there, and that information will be outlined for you as well. But as I said, every organization up here will not be having intake, but 7 of them have already confirmed that they will be having intake this season. All right, does anybody else want to speak to interest or informationals? No? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna make this the last question, and then I'm gonna let you all do words of wisdom. What is the one piece of advice you would give a person aspiring to be in one of your organizations? I see 1 hand, I see 2 hands, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there 1 more? 7, all right. Go ahead, sir, you put your hand up first. Chris.
Be original, be authentic, be yourself. Please don't be somebody that you're not.
One thing I would say is, I'm kind of piggybacking off of him too, is be yourself, be original. Don't let anybody like show you up or like pretty much prove to you that you're not who you're like showing yourself to be. Also, I would say if you see brothers on the yard, or if you see anybody that you look up to in a fraternity or sorority that you're like seeking, try to not cling on to, but try to get close to the person that you see is like most like you, or shares the similar likes of you. So you don't have to go out of your comfort zone to get next to that person. It could be a natural relationship.
I would say be innovative, be informed on your decision, do your research, because when the interview comes, they're going to ask you, why did you choose this organization to join? And it has to be an original and innovative answer. It has to be authentic, genuine, so just keep that in mind.
If for whatever reason you don't get like selected for that particular period, there's a multitude of reasons why that can happen. So don't be deterred if like we'll be in the spring. If in the spring you're not chosen, if you're not a graduating senior, you know, feel free to have some persistence and keep your portfolio up to date, your resume and stuff. Keep adding to yourself so that maybe the next time around you'll be selected. Because sometimes it's just because of the timing. Sometimes, you know, it's a various amount of factors. So if you get turned away that first time, don't feel discouraged. If anything, kind of add that to your fire, so that when you come back the next time, you know, it shows that you have some persistence and you're not deterred by, like, say, being turned away once or twice or whatever.
My advice to you would be learn discretion. That's a big thing that you should learn, really know what that word means and really practice that. My next thing would just be to know your information about why you're choosing, the sorority or fraternity that you are trying to, express interest in. And also really know the reason why you want to join this sorority or fraternity. I know my why, and if you ask me why I wanted to do it 2 years ago, it's the same reason why I want to do it now. So just really be firm in your decision and know what you're doing and know that this is a lifetime commitment.
I would just say make sure that the culture of the organization you're going to be joining is something that matches you and something that you can actually match that organization, and also be ready to serve your people.
3 things for me. Be yourself, be knowledgeable, and stay 5 steps ahead. Always be prepared, because, like my brother just said, when you go over, it's time to get to work. The intake process it's fun and whatnot, but the real work begins once you cross over, so always stay 5 steps ahead.
I would say the exact same thing, just kind of really understanding your reason why. Understanding, like, having goals and understanding that what you do here is going to make an impact. And once you get into your sorority or fraternity and you wear these letters, you're not just an image of yourself, you are an image of others. So just be aware, like, once you have letters across your chest, you have to be knowledgeable of what you do and what you say and how you act. So, yeah.
I agree with everything everyone just said, but I will also add, just make the decision that is best for you and what you think is going to help you in the long run, instead of making a decision based off of the opinion of others.
I would say make sure that you stay true to yourself. Make sure that you are committed to what you said that you are going to do. It is not only a commitment through the intake process, but it's a commitment in undergrad, grad, and for life. So make sure that you are going to commit fully to what you said you were going to do. Make sure, again, also, oh my goodness, I just had a fog. Can't think of it right now. If it comes up, I'll let you know. But stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself and stay committed to what you said that you're going to do.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it.
You got it.
Carry your weight. Carry
Yes, Lord.
your weight. Do not put your responsibilities on any other person. It is yours to carry. It is there for a reason, to make sure that it speaks to your life, to add to your life. So carry that burden for a moment. Let it speak to you. Let it do what it needs to do in you. Do not try to push it aside for anybody else to carry. It is yours to carry for that moment. Carry your weight and watch you blossom. Watch.
That's right. Carry your weight. Yes. You want to respond? All right. So it looks like we got a big influx of questions, so I'm about to play rapid fire. I'm going to call somebody's name, and I'm going to give you your own individual question. All right? So let's see here. Messiah, when you were looking at your organization, what stuck out to you the most about it? It's coming. There it is.
Okay. You want me to be honest?
Sure.
Okay. The mascot. I thought it was really cute how our mascot is the poodle. But as far as like a intake and a interest-wise, was just kind of like how down to earth they were. The ladies on yard were cool, collected. Like we have like our saying in our chapter called EL Island, how like we're always together, mingling amongst ourselves, and like we stay out the way. So yeah.
All right. Let's see. Alex, what are the benefits of joining your organization?
The benefits of joining my sorority is you're gaining sisterhood, you're gaining service, and you're also gaining the drive to want to do better. As Mr. Stevens stated earlier, there is just a general basis of things criteria that you have to follow and requirements. And I found like-minded women who want to drive themselves to be better. So yes, the criteria is a 2.7 overall. However, me and my sisters pride ourselves on trying to work harder towards a higher goal. And like I said before, service is one of my big things. My sorority is big on service, and so just being able to constantly have someone to go do that service with, or even being a part of the people that make the service happen, like being behind the scenes, is just so much. It just brings so much joy because again, I love to serve. So, thanks.
All right. Abu, when you joined your organization, did you feel an immediate sense of brotherhood?
Most definitely. To be honest, I honestly felt it while I was online. Let me take that back. While I was doing my intake process.
Thank you.
While I was doing my intake process, because although I was going through my process, my brothers, as they were teaching me the way, they was also there for me. And like I said, I had different brothers in different fields that I wanted to do. I was interested in working with children and educators, so those were my main mentors. They was the one that was mainly guiding me in the right direction.
Thank you. All right. A lot of these are community service-based questions about individual requirements. So like I said earlier, they all have their own individual service requirements, and you can learn more about that when you attend their individual interest meetings. All right. Let's see. Okay. Kendall, question for you specifically. For the Sigma, how hard was it switching chapters?
It wasn't hard at all. Step one, figure out what chapter it was at the new school that I was about to transfer to. Step two, find their social media information so that I could reach out and introduce myself properly. And then from there, it's been fun. I mean, like I said, I crossed at
PWI.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I get my terminology right.
Not a problem.
So I crossed at a white school, so it was completely different. It's completely different. It was completely different. It wasn't no plots. It wasn't no it wasn't as much support from not just the student body, but like the faculty and stuff, and the administration of the school wasn't really rocking with us. So coming here, transferring was very, very easy. I met the brothers last year in the summertime, right before school started, in person for the first time, and then it's been love ever since. Like I said, I'm not Delta Mu. I crossed the Pi Zeta, or was initiated into the Pi Zeta chapter, but it's pretty much like I crossed here because they show a lot of love. I'm a little bit older than some of the bros. I crossed Fall 19. Some of them came after me, and I'm also older than them, like in real life too. So they respect me. They respect my understanding of things and my knowledge of Sigma. So it was very easy, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Sometimes people have reservations about their chapter. Sometimes people they guard and hold their chapter very close to their chest, as they should, but almost to the point where it could be detrimental to some brothers coming in. But it was a cakewalk for me.
Got it. I'll definitely add to that, moving from region to region. Every region has its own culture, but the one thing that we have to understand is nothing is greater than the inclusive organization. So no matter where I go, I should have brothers across the country, across the world. And when I move to that place, they should be there for me to support me. And I know that's what I can speak for in my fraternity. So thank you. Last question for Kennedy. Are you allowed to go off campus for community service projects? And if so, what kind of projects do you do?
Yes, you can go off campus for community service. And me personally, I did a lot of community service with Catholic charities, working with intellectually disabled individuals, because that's what I plan to do in life. So that's what I base my community service off of.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to give you all 1 minute apiece if you want to give any words of wisdom from your own heart to everybody here and everybody on YouTube. Go. Wait for it.
My one wise word would be just do what's true to you. You know what I'm saying? Stick to what's in your heart and always follow it. If something's not for you, understand that and accept it, and then move in the right direction.
Anybody can go. You don't have to.
All right, cool. Main advice I would give, I'm not going to be long-winded. Just make sure you guys attend a plethora of different events. Don't just go to all community service, all educational events, all parties, because there's different facets of every organization up here. You may be impressed, you might love the parties, but you might hate that they don't do community service as much as you would like, or it might be vice versa. Just make sure you attend all type of events to make sure, that's the organization for you. And if you see, and you might see something that, it might be something that you would like to see more, that you could bring to the organization as well. Be the change you want to see, pretty much.
I would say, generally speaking, not just like if you want to pledge my fraternity, make sure you're intentional about what you want to do. Make sure that you're constantly seeking knowledge of that fraternity or sorority. Make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure by not knowing anything. Make sure that you're always being authentic and true to yourself, and that you're putting yourself in situations to be seen and thought of.
Okay, I got to keep it trill for a second. If you want to join any of these organizations because you want some cool points, because you want people to know your name, because you want to be that guy or that girl, you might want to find you something else to do, and here's why. You be an undergrad member, and then you become an alumni member, and then Phi Beta Sigma, once you cross the other side and you die, you're still a member. You're part of a particular chapter. So you only spend 2, 3, 4, or if you're like me, coming up on 5 years of undergrad, and then hopefully, God willing, you have 50, 60, 70 more years of service. So all of the fun things that you see us do, the strolling, the stepping, the parlaying, the politicking, that's a short amount of your experience as a fraternity or a sorority member. So keep that in mind, because if you're joining for the fun aspects are finite. All the work and all the other things that we were referring to, paying dues, doing community service and traveling and conducting business on behalf of the org, that's what most of it is about. Like I said, we do those things because we like to celebrate ourselves, celebrate our history, have fun, and such, just like any other body else. But If that's why you want to join, I would suggest that you reevaluate, because the most important thing to you one of the most important things to you should be the history. Because when we all leave, nobody's going to be talking about if we were stepping or strolling. They're going to talk about what kind of work did Kendall put in, what type of work did Alex put in as chapter president, what kind of work, keyword work, did we put in, because that's why we're so important now, because of the work of our past members, not because they did some stepping or some strolling. So just keep that in mind.
Just something real brief. Like Kendall said, the biggest thing is work. It's not about it's always about what you're doing, but like if you're here for a social life, like that's cool and all, but work is the biggest thing. A lot of people that you see who are like politicians, doctors, and things of that nature, a lot of time you'll run into people who are Greek. I'm not sure if you know who Shirley Chisholm is, but she's a soror of mine, and she's like the first African-American woman to run for presidency, and she opened the doors for many people. And so that's like inspiration for me. And although I don't want to be a politician, I hope that someday with my major and with my degree, I can become like a world-renowned surgeon. So just remember that, yeah, it's all fun and play, but once you leave here, it's the real world. You still have work to do. So this isn't just undergrad. And like we said, it's not just undergrad. So if you don't make it, I believe that if you really want to be a part of my sorority and you don't make it in undergrad, you'll try again for graduate chapters. So that's all I have to say.
One thing I also want to say again, I want to stress on saying be knowledgeable. Just not about the organization you're interested in, but be knowledgeable about all the other organizations too. It's good to know the difference between one organization and the other, because you might understand, okay, maybe some of their morals and values align to mine, but not as much as this organization, and you can find the difference between the two. And also support other organizations as well. Even when you do go over, we all still brothers and sisters at the end of the day. It's all fun and games, but at the end of the day, we calling us, we won't be there for each other to help each other as well.
I just wanted to say that these organizations aren't here to make you great. They're here to make you greater, and heavy on the greater. I just want everyone to know that as individuals, you guys have the opportunity to help your community. You guys have the opportunity to be phenomenal within yourselves. So yes, being a part of an organization helps with, the greater good of everybody, and working as a team definitely gets the job done. But as individuals, you guys have the same opportunities to better your community, go out there, help yourself, get good grades, be who you want to be. So like being in these organizations is just a stepping stone. It's not the milestone. So, yeah.
Great answer.
I would agree with work being the most important. Once you join, the work never stops. I'm sitting here coming up on 9 years in Sigma Lambda Gamma, and I'm still helping with expansion. All of these organizations here, what we want to do is we want to, like she said, make you greater and spread that greatness to other people coming up as well. So.
The last piece of advice that I can give is to know when to speak and know when to be silent. Take the pause. Do not let anybody intimidate you to speak when you're not ready to speak the words that you need to speak. Pause. Think, then communicate.
Thank you all. So I'm going to do some housekeeping, and then I'll give my little words, and then we will go on to the next portion, which is intake certification. For those of you watching on YouTube, there should be 2 links inside of the comment profile on YouTube. One is for your quiz, and the other is for your anti-hazing pledge. Those will both be live at 9 p.m. For those of you all here, when you leave out of here, there are QR codes that will be located on the table. You can utilize those QR codes to get the same quiz and the same anti-hazing pledge. Those both have to be filled out and signed. Your name will then go on the Excel spreadsheet that will go to my office, and you will be good for intake. All right? All right, so parting words. You are a brand. Every time you leave your room, somebody is watching you and you're watching somebody else. And how you carry yourself will determine where you go and what you do on this campus and beyond. Take pride in that brand. You live in an era of social media where everybody is watching you, and anything that you do wrong can be recorded and put on the internet. Thank God I did not live during that time. So what I will tell you is always be conscious and mindful of your brand. Carry your brand with extreme value, and if you do that, you should not have any problem sitting on this platform one day. Thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask my Greeks to take these chairs and take them to the back of the stage, and you can join everybody in the audience. Give them a round of applause, please. Just want to give y'all some transition music. I thought y'all might be bored or something. Yeah, I did that. I know y'all was, who was that doing? That was me. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker. For those of you all who attended last time, he was here, and he always does a stellar job, so we have to bring him back. Please make sure you are listening, as the notes that you will need, he will give you for the quiz. Remember that you have to complete the quiz and the anti-hazing pledge, and the notes in order for you to complete the quiz, he will provide to you now. So please make sure that you stay and that you pay attention. If you would like to take notes, take notes. If not, make sure that you also keep that one pager that you came in with. And on the way out, you will also get your certificates. But you would not get the certificates until we're done. All right? So I want you all to give a Bowie State round of applause to Mr. Jared Benjamin. Please give him our Bowie State energy. Come on, y'all. Let's wake up. So we're going to do this one more time. I need y'all to give this man a Bowie State round of applause and welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Brother Benjamin.
I appreciate you, Steve. How's everybody doing tonight? Y'all like, hurry up, Jared. He said 9 o'clock. So I got 44 minutes. I'm going to make it work. So check this out. The goal is, raise your hand if you got the one pager. I'm talking about super high like we in church, y'all. Help me out. The lights in my eyes. So I see almost every high and up. That means most of the one page I ain't going to cover. Because that means you got it, right? Most of the quiz questions came from the one pager because me and Brother Steve did it in partnership. So check this out. I'm going to make it really easy for you. If I get dialogue, I can get us out of here in probably 30 minutes. But if I can't get no dialogue, we can stretch it all the way to 9:30. How we looking? We get a little dialogue? That was better than my welcome. No, I'm just playing. So check this out. This is how we going to rock. Tonight, I'm super excited to be before you. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Florida Memorial University before we had Zoom accounts. And I got my master's from Nova Southeastern. My PhD studies are cyber engineering and higher education. I started Lead Firm about 7 years ago. I speak at about 212 universities academic year. I'm super excited to be before you. But to be quite honest, I miss my little boys. I got 2 twin boys, Jared Jr. and Aiden. They 14 months. And you my 9th school in 4 days. So I'm excited to be going home in 2 days. So I want to tell you, I'm before you today simply for 2 reasons. One, to be sure you're certain about your decision to join a registered student organization, a selective-based registered student organization. The other reason I'm before you to ensure that you do it with knowing the risk and ensuring that you're going to be safe. Those are my 2 goals tonight, and I think I can accomplish them in 40 minutes. The first thing I'm going to let you know, in full disclosure, about almost a year ago, I moved to South Louisiana from South Florida. I worked for Florida International University, where I was serving as Assistant Vice President of Student and Academic Affairs and the Director of Cybersecurity. My grandfather passed away, and I had decided that I would relocate to South Louisiana. I had a 3-story townhome with no backyard in Miami. And I got little boys, I wanted to raise them in the country and at least be sure they knew what grass looked like. So I got in the U-Haul, packed them up, and we drove to South Louisiana with my first cousin. We get there, my wife looked me in the face and she say, baby, after 16 hours, can you help me put some pictures on the wall? I'm gonna be honest with you, I was thinking I was gonna get a good job, a great drive, I'm proud of you or something. She said, put some pictures on the wall. I'm like, well, you flew, but I drove. I'm gonna put the pictures on the wall. So I went to my tool bag and I went to get the Phillips head screwdriver to hang pictures while she was making groceries at the store. And I realized that my Phillips head screwdriver was missing. I grew a little frustrated, so I went to get a flathead screwdriver. Realized that was missing. And much like people in the audience looking, I decided to go to the kitchen and get a butter knife because I knew it would still get the job done. I hung the pictures up and I realized in that moment, had I inventoried the bag before I needed the tools, to be quite honest, I would have knew what was missing before I needed to use them. So tonight, my goal in 40 minutes is to give you a few tools you can use, whether you join or whether you just graduate without being selected, that you can use as a leader. But if you pack them up tonight and don't use them when you don't need them, you're gonna find yourself in a situation where when the need arises, you're gonna be fixing Phillips head screwdriver issues with butter knives. So it's important that we pay attention, take notes, or just use the one-pager because it's gonna cover all the quiz questions for the most part, all right? So hear me out. A lot of things were said tonight by those dynamic student leaders. Let's clap it up for our student leaders that were sitting up here. And to be quite honest, I thought through a couple of those things, and to be real with you, I realized that hazing has become a chapter tradition. Not just hazing, but a couple other traditions have grown strong. Do anybody in the audience recognize what I'm holding right now? You say no? A charger, right? What kind of charger? All right, that's fair. So if Jared take this iPhone charger, I see an extension cord over here, and I plug this iPhone charger into it's safe to say it's ready to charge my phone, correct? All right, so I'm gonna run over here and go get my phone. So I take my phone and I bring it to the charger, right? So when I plug it into the charger, is it fair to say with this little green lightning bolt my phone is charging? Yes or no? Scream it real loud, yes or no? Yes. All right, so the question I pose to you, if I disconnect it from the charger, is it charging now? All right, so we got our yeses and nos now. Y'all, I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. The phone is Jared. Who's the phone? Who the phone? All right, cool. Y'all, I joined through Beta Pi chapter. The cable is Beta Pi. Who the cable? Who the phone? Who the cable? Now the block, let's be clear, the block is Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. You can call it Phi Beta Sigma for short. Who the block? The cable? Y'all done forgot that fast. Boy, let's work on it, y'all. Who the phone? Y'all, it ain't no, you could cheat, talk to your neighbor. All right, who the phone? Who the cable? Boy, y'all struggling through that cable. I'm gonna help you out. Y'all, I joined through Beta Pi chapter. Who the phone? Who the cable? Boy, you're getting better. Who the block? Frat, boy. Who the block? Who the phone? And who the cable? So we got the hard part out of the way. We almost out of here, y'all. Check it out. So if I'm plugging the block into the phone, we did it earlier. We put the block into the extension cord. Y'all got this cord out here, super convenient for me. I appreciate Bowie. All right. Is it fair to say that Jared is plugged in and charging, yes or no? Well, what if I was more connected to my chapter traditions than I was my organization? Would I still charge? What if I was more focused on my self-accomplishments than I was my chapter affiliation? Would I still charge? So it's fair to say, if you're going to make a decision to join and get selected, you got to be plugged into all three components to be a successful student leader in your org. Otherwise, you're just going to be a dead phone or an invaluable asset to the organization that selected you. How many times have you went to class with a dead phone? I can tell you the truth. Y'all, I teach 3 courses at my university: applied calculus, quantitative methods, and microeconomics. And them 3 courses, I realize they're not the easiest of courses, and oftentimes people pop up in the classroom and say, I'm surprised you look like you. I'll be like, what I'm supposed to look like? They say most times it's not a young African-American man teaching these topics. But I notice if they phone about to die, they don't stay to class the whole time. To be honest with you, if my phone about to die, I sit in the car a little before I go teach them. So without a phone, would it be fair to say sometimes we feel a little bit without, right? So without ourselves being fully charged, we can't fully serve our student constituents or even our organization that selected us. Why am I sharing that? It's important that you don't join these organizations with self-gratifying reasons, or join these organizations connected to the chapter traditions, but not understanding the national principles, national mission statements, or national values, because in that moment, with time, you're going to eventually die and be no asset to the organization. It's important that we recognize that commitment is a 3-part commitment that must continue. So oftentimes those chapter traditions are underwrapped in several different components. One could be hazing. The maximum punishment for hazing in the state of Maryland, if convicted, is $500 and or a 6-month sentence. It's defined by degrading, threatening, or striking an individual. And to be quite honest, even if it's welcomed, it's still not within the policy. Welcome, in case we all got mixed translations, I'll be honest with you. My dad is a member of a Greek life organization. I remember when I was preparing to join. He said, now, boy, I'm going to tell you now, don't be no skater. I was a bit confused, like, Daddy, what you saying? He said, boy, you hear me now? Be sure they make it right. Now, had you take that information, you go to the chapter and you welcome hazing, you're just as guilty. In fact, to be quite honest, there were several members in organizations that have been through several situations. There was a woman named Victoria Carter at ECU. She died joining an organization because she had suffered from sleep deprivation. Her car wrapped around a tree during a car accident, and she suffered death. In fact, there was a young man named Brother Champion in the marching band at FAMU. A part of the tradition was to go down the bus in a gauntlet style and receive a striking, or those would say hitting him with items or their hands. And when they got off to perform, he didn't get off the bus because he was dying from internal bleeding. There was a young man at University of California, Riverside. In fact, he had to go through the chapter tradition of taking a hike to the top of a mountain. They used a cactus as a makeshift paddle. And when his mom had to identify the body, he was face down. Some asked why he was face down, because he had 7-inch thorns in his buttocks from the cactus, and they didn't want to turn them on his buttocks because the thorns would go even further. The mom asked the question, were the chapter traditions worth my son's life? Are we prepared as leaders to answer a question to a mom if she asks us, is the chapter traditions worth my son or daughter's life? To be quite honest, I'm not sure how you was dropped off the buoy, but when I was dropped off to Florida Memorial University, my mom was very clear in her instructions. She dropped me off, and on the way we stopped by Walmart. She got me a matching garbage can, a rug, and she laid it in my dormitory. And she said, son, take a picture, because I got to show the church folk. I got to let them know my son going to graduate in 4 years. And she looked me in the face and said, whatever you go through in 4 years, I'm coming back. Not to pick you up, but to ensure you graduate. Don't disappoint me. Now, I'm going to be honest. I went through a process that was a bit strenuous, but with nobody more scarier than my mama. Because I was convinced that had I disappoint my mama, forget a greeting and a probate show, it was going to be hell to pay. And so I ask you, while your mother, your father, or those mother or father figures have invested in your presence at Bowie State University, don't let a selective-based registered student organization break that commitment we made to our families. I feel like that commitment is much greater. And to be quite honest, I heard a Delta woman on the stage tonight reference Shirley Chisholm. I find it to be just as valuable to bring it up one more time while I address you tonight. In fact, when I was a young boy in North Louisiana, where I'm from, my mom gave me some explicit instructions while I went to school. Every morning, my mom prayed with us. My mom was a pastor in a very small church, and sometimes I felt like I was an extension of the church. She said, we're going to have church every morning before you go. And she gave us some instructions, say, son, hold your sister's hand when you go to school. When I got to the stop sign, y'all, I dropped that hand because she wasn't looking no more. We came from school. I decided to have a conversation with my little sister, and I say, Jasmine, the goal today is for us to get home a lot quicker. You understand? She said, yeah. I say, we're going to go through this graveyard. My mama said, don't go through the graveyard for the shortcut because there's drunks and there's drug addicts in the graveyard. And I didn't really care. She even said it was somebody as drunk as Cootie Brown. Y'all, I don't know who Cootie Brown is still today. And so I look at my mom and I look at my little sister. I say, Jazzy, we're going to do this. It's going to be our little secret. She said, I got you, big bro. When we got through the graveyard, I made a clear decision to say, Jazz, whatever I do, you do. If I run, you run. If I walk fast, you walk fast. If I turn right or left, I need you to do it, and I need you to pivot quick. She said, bro, I got you. Y'all, we was walking through the graveyard 2 minutes in Louisiana. If you've never been there before, most of our graves are above ground. And it was a man sleeping on top of a grave, and he got up. That was all I needed to see, y'all. I took off running super fast. I'm glad my sister remembered them instructions because she was on my heels. I peeled the gate back. It was a little hole we used to go through, but I ain't had no time for that. My nerves was bad. I peeled it back. Well, a few bushes, I picked them up. Blood began to come from my forearm. I didn't care. My little sister was behind me. She needs to make it safe. We dap each other up. We say we did it. Mama don't get home to 6. It's about 3. We safe. We get to the front door, but I noticed in the driveway my mama's car was there. I walk in the door. My mama say, boy, you know I'm going to give you a whooping today. I know we all come from different backgrounds and cultures, so I want to be sure everybody understand what a whooping is. It's when the belt start up here, and she bring it this low 3 or 4 times over and over. You can choose not to cry, but she going to keep going till you do cry. I hear a few heads nod. Y'all might know my mama. And so I simply tell you, in that moment, what did I do? I did what you would have did. I said, ma'am, not that I didn't hear her, but I said, ma'am, because I figured it would buy me a little time to figure out what I'm in trouble for. She says, boy, you know what you did. Now, when I said, ma'am, I squatted a little low. Y'all, I didn't squat because I was nervous. I was trying to see, in case she swung the belt, I wanted to catch the impact in my lower leg. I looked to my left and my right because I wanted to be sure I wasn't getting trapped. Nobody wants to get caught into a whooping. You want to be able to have some wiggle room. She said, you went through the graveyard, and I told you not to do it. I looked at my mama like, man, how she know? I look at Jasmine. Jasmine looking at me. She like, I'm looking at Jasmine like, bruh, I'm sorry what I'm about to have to do. Mama said, you about to get this whooping. I said, well, Jasmine went with me. Jasmine looked at me like, bruh. She said, no, she didn't. Quit lying. I'm looking like, oh, this is a setup. Mama said, boy, I'm about to do this. I said, Mama, give me just a minute to explain. She said, you got 1 minute. Anybody who got a mama like mine that really translates, you got 10 seconds. So y'all know my mama. Don't get new now. And so I realized I had a quick moment to share the truth, or at least my version. I said, Mom, what is the issue? She said, I'm not going to whoop you because you went through the graveyard. I'm giving you the beating because you chose to be disobedient. So I struggled with that for a second. Like, what was I She said, I told you not to do it. But it's not the disobedience that bothers me most. You sent your sister another way. Now I'm real confused because I know she was behind me. I said, no, Mama, she was behind me. No, she was. I said, what makes you believe that Jasmine wasn't behind me? She said, it's because I noticed on your arm, you're bleeding from the forearm, and Jasmine looks like she just went on a light stroll back home. I said, oh, Mama, I can explain. The reason Jasmine is not bleeding is because when we went through the graveyard, I told her to follow me, and wherever I go, I would lead a pathway for her to follow and be safe in all things that she do. And earlier today, one of the distinguished scholars shared that a Delta woman named Shirley Chisholm in 1974 was the first black congresswoman to run for president and also received the first historic majority nomination as a black woman. Some would say she lost the elections, but I would say she won the race. Why do I say she ran the race? Because to be quite honest, while she lost the election, she established a pathway. In 2008, I would venture to say that President Barack Obama, if you look at his forearm, he'll have no scratches because Sister Shirley took the blunt of the damage. In 2021, another gender barrier was broken. My daughter was watching the inauguration and she says, "Daddy, I'm super excited because the woman who's being inaugurated looks just like me, and now I can be the Vice President of the United States." I'd be lying to you if I told you I ain't cried a little bit. But because she's my daughter, I got to be tough. I said, "Baby, it's hot in this house. My eyes are sweating. Go tell your mama to turn the air down." And when she came back, I said, it's a great time to share with you that she didn't get this by accident. She got it by pathway. Why am I sharing this with you today, young leaders? It's because what you do on a day-to-day basis at Bowie State isn't for the now, it's for the pathway that you're setting for later on. So whether you're selected as a Greek life leader or you just get to be a HBCU graduate, it's imperative that we focus on the energy and our efforts in the now because it's creating a pathway for later. So I shared with my mom that, "Mom, I did not leave jazz. I created a pathway for her safety." Each of you, whether you're on the stage sharing information about your organization or you're in the audience watching folks share, you must create pathways so that we have equitable access to be represented at the highest levels, even in our nation. It was a time where we could only visit the White House, and now we get to occupy the White House. There was a time when entrepreneurs didn't look like us, and now entrepreneurs try to be like us. It's imperative that we realize land-grant institutions were not invented because they wanted to create a space for black folks to be educated, but because there was no table for us to sit at, we created tables called land-grant institutions in HBCUs like Bowie State so we could sit at tables that we created. It's important to recognize the organizations that you desire to join need you like you need them, so that pathways are continued to be created. My next topic I want to address in this space is notable versus famous. To be quite honest, when I was in my 4-year experience in college, I was hoping I was famous. I was the SGA president. I became the MPHC president. I had a chance to lead in several spaces, but I realized in that moment I was just famous. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Instagram wasn't popping in my time. I think it was called MySpace and Black Planet, but I had a few followers. And what I share with you is, in my famous sitting, I realized that wasn't enough. I didn't know it until the day I was interviewing to be a member of a Black Greek letter organization. We had some old heads, some old alumni brothers that was helping us navigate the interview. And I realized our chapter tradition was to only initiate 18 individuals, and I had already did the math. There was 87 brothers outside waiting to interview, and over 20 of them were legacy. I said, my chances is kind of slim today. I went in, I stood in line, really digging in Wikipedia on my phone. I'd be lying if I didn't tell the truth. And so I was overly prepared. I walked in the room, the older brother said to me, "First question, young man." Y'all, I had borrowed that shirt and I borrowed that tie. I was sweating up a storm. My palms were so wet, I had them on my pants. I was like, "Oh, God." "Yes, sir." He said, "Give me 2 notable members of Phi Beta Sigma." I looked him in the face, prepared, and I said, "Jerry Rice and Emmett Smith." He said, "You can leave." "Y'all ain't gonna ask me nothing else?" He said, "No, get out." Y'all, my nerves was bad. I called my dad. I was looking for sympathy because he's an Omega man. He kind of had very little sympathy in the moment. "I told you to go to the other informational bar." I listened for a second, but I decided I wasn't going to leave. At the end of the night, I went in the room. I said, "Can I help y'all put up the chairs?" I began to stack the chairs slowly but surely. The older brother come over to me. He said, "I'm going to give you another chance, young man. Who are 2 notable members of Phi Beta Sigma?" Little did he know, for the last 2 hours, I've been back Googling. I said, Huey P. Newton and Congressman John Lewis. He said, "Sit down. You're going to be invited to the first module. Welcome to your opportunity to be initiated as a Sigma man." Boy, I took a deep breath, so happy. I had borrowed half of that money from my homeboy, the other half from my mom and them, and I know my mama was gonna work me hard for that initiation fee. So I had asked him, sir, could you stop for a second? What is the difference between my previous answer and my current answer? He said, the first group of people you offered was famous. The second group of people you offered was notable. There's a difference. I don't want anybody else to join our organizations who just desire to be famous and leave no notable impact. And so I share with you today, what will you do to leave a notable impact in the organizations you desire to join? So for me, I had made a decision quite early. To be real, my mama made $11,000 a year raising 4 children. You do the math, we ain't have a whole lot growing up, right? 27% tax taken out her check. My mama's a faithful tither and offering giver. Y'all, we ain't have a lot growing up. I never understood why I had to pick field peas and collard greens and pull the turnips out the ground and chop them up and make a meal out of all of that. I didn't know that I was broke because everybody in my neighborhood was broke until I went somewhere and realized other people didn't have to do it. And so in sharing that, years have changed and now I have socioeconomic privilege. Simply, I got a bag these days, y'all. And I wanted to understand how having a bag could leave a notable impact versus just being famous on the yard. Oftentimes when we seek to be famous, when we leave our campus, nobody remembers our name. I have a question by show of hands. Can anybody tell me who the SGA president was 15 years ago on this campus? It's a lot of bright lights, but I'm still looking for a hand. I'll do you one better. 10 years ago, who was the SGA president? 8 years ago, who was the SGA president? Okay. 5 years ago, who was the SGA president? I see a hand. That's real. She said, I don't know. She said, it might be. Is it fair to say the academic year they served, would it be fair to say they was famous? But they didn't leave a notable impact. It's important when you join your organization, you don't just become famous, but you leave a notable impact. One of the things that bothered me most at my campus while I was serving in Greek life was people going to the bursar office, but sometimes having to leave disappointed. To be quite honest, just couldn't clear their balance. And so I thought about something notable I can do, and I started 6 $10,000 endowments, and I named every 2 of them after one of my children. I have 3 kids. And I decided that would be a way that they would have to remember my name because they got to apply for the scholarship I named after my son, who named after me. How would I leave a notable legacy so that they would always remember that I poured into this space? I'm asking you, whether it be socioeconomic privilege, how will you leave a notable impact to ensure people remember who you are when you contributed in this space we call Greek life? Those things are only done when you own the fact that you have to be a servant leader saturated in leadership. I share with you, when you join Greek life, leadership ain't gonna be fun all the time. If it was, they'd call it likership, not leadership. But to be quite honest, how will you decide to lead? To make it quick, I want to be honest with you. I'm going to leave you with a closing story. Y'all remember Family Matters? Anybody watch Steve Urkel? Did I do that? Well, who was his girlfriend? Who did he like the most? Okay, well then y'all watched it. Y'all, Steve Urkel, real name is Jaleel White. His dad was a post office worker, and one morning he woke up and saw the newspaper and realized that he wanted to be an actor. In fact, he went to his dad and said, Dad, could you drop me off for the show the next morning? His dad said to him, son, I already talked to the postmaster and I have a job for you. The job I have for you would be to take my route. He said, Dad, that's great, but I really want to do this instead. He said, well, hop in the mail truck at 6 in the morning, and I'm going to drive you over to the crew, and you can audition for the show or whatever. The next day, he drives them. He picks them up. He says, did you make it? He said, no, Daddy, I didn't make it. They didn't pick me. He said, I told you. The next morning, he making a little oatmeal, put a little hot food on his stomach, and he says, Dad, I'm getting in the mail truck. He said, where you going? He said, drop me back off to the city. He said, they got another casting call? He said, no, sir. I just want to be there. Every day for 2 weeks, he just wanted to be there. eventually people would notice he would just mumble lines, never bother anybody, would repeat what he heard and kept going, but they decided they were going to cancel the show. And when they canceled the show in my first read, all I saw was actors was going to lose a job and potentially a director. I forgot the writers would lose a job, the film crew would lose a job. So everybody grew devastated saying, what are we going to do? And so the director said, there's a little boy who sits in the corner every day. Maybe we give him a shot. Y'all can't write this into a sitcom, make it funny for folks to laugh at. He says, no, we need to do another casting call. He said, I don't have the time. I hope the little boy come in tomorrow. Well, Jaleel White walks in tomorrow. He says, hey, you got glasses? He said, no, I don't. My daddy do. He ran behind the mail truck, grabs the glasses. He walks in. He says, hey, I want you to do me a solid. I want you to just say, did I do that? Don't add nothing. Don't take nothing away. Just say, did I do that? Well, he walks in and says, did I do that? The crowd goes insane. And so at that moment, he realizes he's going to be permanent on the show. Well, he begins to negotiate after the second season, say, I want a little more money. Laura had a little sister, for those who scream Laura. What was her name? A lot of us don't remember. It was Julie. They wrote Julie off the show to be able to afford Steve Urkel. To be quite honest, Laura did like somebody because she really didn't like Steve back. She liked Stefan. And Stefan was the alter ego. Jaleel White said, because I'm making two shows, two actors, two roles, I need two checks. So they had to write Mama Winslow off the show. It ain't power. We can't kill you off the show. They got to write you off the show. And so what happens is now Mama Winslow wrote off the show, and the show eventually goes on for years to come, and they end up, canceling the show with time. It did its duration, and now just reruns play. And on my way coming into Maryland this morning, I did some research, and he made $1.9 million off just the rerun royalties. What if that no would have stopped him from his determined destiny? I share that because everybody in this room won't be selected for intake. But I encourage you to still show up. I encourage you to still be around, still participate in the activities, the organization that you desire to join. Still go to their events, because just being around sometime can benefit you in your favor. To be quite honest, why that show resonates so much with me, because I don't know if y'all remember, at 7:30, that was the only black show on Friday nights. And so I watched it over and over, not knowing that this man was so deep in his bag. So I'm sharing with you today, be determined even if you don't get a yes the first time. Ensure you understand what leadership is. Hazing, we recognize, is not only zero tolerance, but the state has also enforced statute and legislation behind it, recognizing you can't strike someone, you can't degrade someone, and you can't threaten someone. The other thing I want to leave you with is understanding, who do you contact if you want to know what organizations are having intake or available? It's the last question on your sheet if you're looking at your one-pager. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is, be determined to build your own legacy and create pathways, even for folks who look like us. Oftentimes, we can be our own worst enemies, just being quite honest. I'm determined that I'm not just looking at potential Greek life members, but I'm looking at the next generation of entrepreneurs, governors, lawyers, doctors, graduates, leaders in our community. In 2014, I have a distinct pleasure to meet President Barack Obama. I was invited to the White House to receive a Lifetime Service Award. I got to bring one guest, y'all. I had to look my girlfriend at that time, not my wife, and say, babe, I got to bring my mama now. She said, I understand. My country mama came on with me, y'all. We get to the White House. She said, baby, they won't let me bring my phone in here. They won't even let me take pictures. I said, mama, they're going to send us a picture. She said, how the church folk going to even know we came? I said, mama, they're going to get you a picture. I promise. Just tell the people you came. So we get in the White House, y'all. I get a chance to be before the other 4 awardees. The president comes up to me. I ain't going to lie to y'all. I was super, super nervous. He says, Jared, how you doing? I ain't even hear him. I was just looking. He said, I need you to bend your knees a little bit because I got to put the metal around your neck. I said, huh? Thinking to myself, you taller than me, man. Drop that on me so I can go. So I dropped my knees. He put it on. He said, any question you want to ask me is an appropriate question. At that time, I was looking at all the national presidents of the Divine Nine, a few other distinguished African-American leaders. I said, well, you know what? Since I got this time to shoot my shot, I might as well shoot it. President Barack Obama. He said, yes. Have you ever thought about joining Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated? Everybody looked at me like, you damn fool. I'm looking like, man asked me, I'm shooting my shot. He says, well, Jared, me and Michelle, y'all excuse my impersonation, me and Michelle, we actually recognize that all of the organizations are focused on service and their values align with us and we can't join them all, so we're gonna support you all. I like that cool. I went to go get my food. They had a nice little spread, y'all. I went to go get my food. And I noticed the Secret Service started surrounding me. My nerves got a little bad, too. I looked at my mama looked at me. You know how you feel somebody staring at the back of your neck? I said, who is that? I looked back, it was the president. Sir? He says, Jared, can I talk to you privately? I'm looking like, ain't nothing private in here. He says, you didn't like my answer, did you? I said, the truth is no. He said, well, I got a better one. I'm like, well, run it. He said, the truth is, during my 4-year experience, I was interested in Greek life organizations, but they was not interested in me. In fact, I found that they were programming to their interests, but they were never programming to folks who never understand the community. So I share with you, go to everybody program. It ain't gonna bite you. They ain't giving no secrets out of them programs. Ain't nobody gonna feel like you acting flip-floppy. Go to all of the organization programs, because you just never know what best fits you. He says, now that I've become the first minority president, I get an invitation from all the organizations inviting me to join their organization. He said, Jared, do you listen to Mike Jones? I said, who? He said, Mike Jones. He said, back then they didn't know me. Now I'm hot and they all on me. I look at the president like, come on now, yeah. He said, man, I'm simply saying, since you're a leader in your organization now, ensure that nobody makes a decision in the moment that they observe the organization in totality. And then on the flip side, ensure that every organization recognizes that they may be passing up the next African American or minority president if they decide that somebody just ain't a good fit based on their outer appearance, not judging them by their intellectual capabilities. So I share with you, ensure the organizations you desire to join don't just see you for your outer appearance, but you show them that you ain't afraid to perform in the classroom. That you're not gonna just be a leader in the Greek life organizations, but you recognize that leadership exists in multifaceted and other spaces in which you can serve on campus. And don't let community service and GPA achievement be something you do to join, but it's something to do because you realize you came to this campus to get a degree. I leave you with these remarks as you prepare to get on your feet. For me, y'all, when I first got my initiation and membership certificate, I was so proud. I put that thing on the wall and my mama came to visit and I said, Mama, you see that? Yeah, I'm in the frat. She said, baby, that's great, but if you don't put a diploma next to that, that wall's still naked to me. I'm simply sharing with you, don't let your organization affiliation be your largest accomplishment when you really came here to get your degree. The next thing I want to leave you with is ensure that we don't allow the organizations we desire to join to change us, but they enhance us. It can happen. It happened to me. I could remember going to the cafe with my friends as soon as I got my letters. They'd be like, bro, you want to go get something to eat? I already ate. They'd be like, with who? With the frat. Real slow frat. I ended up changing my whole closet, slowly but surely. My girlfriend said, baby, what you gonna wear tonight? Something blue? What you wore yesterday? Something white? What you gonna wear tomorrow? Something blue and white. She was like, that's all you wear. Get out of my business. I'm simply saying, don't let it change you. Let it enhance you. While I recognize our organizations can be life-changing and we're joining not just for a now, but for a forever, recognize that when you're deciding which one is your best fit. Don't go to informationals and make commitments because your friends made them. Make it because it fits you. Because when it's not fun to you no more, that's why you see folks denouncing letters and saying they don't want to do it anymore. We need you committed for a lifetime to keep our organizations existing. So again, if we're looking at our papers and we're preparing for our quiz, striking, degrading, and threatening, that's one answer. That's hazing. We understand $500 or 6 months in prison. That's the punishment we're facing if we get caught. The last thing we look at is who do we contact? And for me, what's bigger than that, ensure that you use this to be a part of your life but not to be your life. Bowie State University, I'm always counting it a privilege to be before you and speak to you about anything as it pertains to changing your life and your trajectory. Remember this, that leadership starts with you making the decision to do the right thing when nobody's looking, not when everybody can watch. It's been a pleasure, and now I release you to Mr. Stevens, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna say, when you go outside, scan the QR codes, bigger than that, represent yourself before you represent an org, right? Because my mama would tell you, baby, I ain't clapping, I don't even know what Blue 5 means. You better get that diploma. It's been great, Bowie. Y'all take care.
Let's give Mr. Benjamin a round of applause, please. Thank you. All right, so real quick, just some housekeeping rules. When we leave out of here, when you came in, you all got a one-pager. When you leave out, you're going to sign out, and you're going to get your certificate. That certificate, all you'll do is you'll write your name in. Don't worry about my signature portion, but all those certificates are numbered. So once everybody gets their certificates, we will not give any more out. Will be active in 6 minutes. The link will be active in 6 minutes. The QR code will also be active in 6 minutes. So make sure when you get them that you save them and refresh them at 9 p.m. And then they'll be active for you all to take your quiz and sign your anti-hazing pledge. You all can start making your way out. Thank y'all for coming out. Be safe. Good night. Please don't tackle me.